What's up, guys? It's Scrooloose again from TwinstiqLP. This is Warhammer 40k Dawn of War 3. It's an RTS by Games Workshop. I've played the first Dawn of War games as an RTS. I played Dawn of War 2. I really liked that. So I and probably lots of other people got a 50% off coupon for Steam for this game in particular. And you know, so far I'm mostly enjoying it. I don't know if it's anything too special to write home about, but it's pretty fun. And this is a mission where I'm playing as the chapter leader, Gabriel Angelos. This is for the Blood Ravens. And he is landed on the wandering planet Acheron to perform last rites on a friendly unit, an allied unit, that he presumes dead after this planet has crashed into their star base. And my commentary through this is probably going to be pretty sporadic because I'm doing this after I played the mission. The commentary is laid over. I do that sometimes. Most of the time I try not to, but some games don't really allow me to record a separate channel. Like, I've usually got Audacity going in the background, and some games don't really like that. So, might mess with some settings if I decide to put up another video of this, but until then... you know, as I said, until then my commentary will be somewhat sporadic. But anyway, okay, so Angelos is a hero character, obviously. You can tell that usually by their size. They typically are bigger and stronger. He has the health of several squads and a couple of cool abilities, and what he's using there, what I'm going to use now, is called God Splitter. He uses that to jump up ledges, and it also does a lot of damage in a circle and stuns and knocks back targets. Here's Gabriel close up. The other ability he has, if I hit W, is to swing the power hammer in a circle.
The Emperor lights our way.
And that'll knock everything back and sort of creates a small temporary shield around Gabriel.
Take no escape.
But I thought this would be an okay mission to present because there's not too much in the way of spoilers if you haven't played this game, if you're interested in it, and it will also sort of demonstrate the cool visuals without having too much going on in the background. No base building happens in this mission at all.
My hammer has them. Let this be an example to the rest. Make way. My hammer has them.
Some Terminator allies that have warped in, teleported to the surface to help.
This dead man walking. I deployed alone for a reason, brothers.
And we follow your example, Chapter Master. We wish to honor Chaplain Diomedes.
Is that so? Follow me then.
Moving now.
I haven't made it far enough in the game to actually hire Terminators, or train Terminators, call them down, whatever you want to call it, in the actual RTS base building sections. So I don't know if these are particularly hero Terminators, they look like they are, or if all the Terminators are hero units. I'm not entirely sure.
We embark with fire in our hearts.
But these guys are pretty cool. They do. There's a rocket barrage, and they can also teleport. Terminators can teleport anyway, but they're a heavy ranged unit, and they're also melee Terminators. But as I said, I haven't seen them yet in the actual gameplay. Something I'm actually not really pleased with in this game is the sort of rotation that you play in the game to progress the story along. You play as all three playable races all the time. Right now I'm playing Space Marines, and the next mission I will probably play as either, well, I think it'll be Eldar next, if I remember correctly. And then after that it'll be the Orcs, and then probably back to Space Marines. Maybe sometimes they'll throw a little loop in there, but you can't just play a particular race's campaign. They just put them all into one. I'm not really a fan of that, because I would like to be able to get used to the playstyle of a particular race before I decide to move on to another one.
Ooh, what did I catch for lunch?
The enemy elite has engaged.
Cuties, get him, lads!
Terminators are extraordinarily powerful.
Terminators, priority target.
Setting forth to war.
This is the rocket barrage.
Executing missile strike.
I think I mostly missed, actually.
I will to battle back! No escape! To war then! Make way! Setting forth to war. No escape! Enemy grenade!
I don't think I missed with this one.
Moving to war. Be gone!
Executing missiles.
I will not falter!
And to those of you out there who are feeling a little bit critical about my clicking around and stuff instead of using hotkeys, I don't know. I'm not a huge RTS player, so I'm not really into all the buttons. I think I did set these guys up to groups eventually because there's just no reason not to. But I've been getting along just fine without that.
Let's move on. We're almost there.
Speak louder than the cries of our foes.
This I will ensure it.
This is going to be also, by the way, mostly an unedited video. I will try to
Marching there now.
remember to go back and edit out like auto save screens, because there are a few of them and they're kind of long. I don't really know what the point of that is. That's another sort of maybe a small issue that I have with the game.
Order received. We move to engage.
I am capable. No escape! My fury wakes.
Better fear is for foes of the Emperor.
At this point, I'm just using attack moves, or trying to,
Victory
which is a pretty standard normal RTS thing. You tell your units to move, but also, you know, more or less be on alert and attack anything that moves on the way.
We've found Helios. It's become fused with Acheron. Spread out.
Can't say I'm super impressed with the story in this game so far. Along with being, I don't know, it just seems a little, I was going to say hard to follow, but it's not really hard to follow. It's just not that special. That's not terrible by any means. I guess I'll be leaving that one in, that save screen. I don't know, I guess they're not that bad. Maybe I just won't edit them out.
On the move, seeking glory.
I want a background noise. I got my cooler, I think, is blowing into my microphone. I'm sorry about that.
Souls.
I will try and cut that background noise out.
Moving now. Rupture detected in East Quadrant.
Taking enemy attack. Who's coming? You'll die one by one.
brothers.
Dispatching servitor team. Servitor
He who
teams are
fights with
responsive.
me shall be my brother.
We embark with fire in our hearts.
Make way! None can stop the drop pod. Its squad was part of Diomedes' detachment. Target! I will not falter!
Command us. Advancing to engage. Forge on, Chapter Master. We shall be on your side. We have the order and shall see it done.
You know, something else I've noticed is that I don't know that there's any way to adjust the game speed. You can see how slow movement can be. It
Order received.
doesn't always feel that way. During a normal play, I think there's enough action going on that's not really noticeable, but
We move to engage.
but here,
Terminators.
it might be a problem.
Executing missile strike. Proceeding downrange. Priority target.
This is Gabriel. Targeting infantry. Another
It's a little bit more micromanaging, I think, in the third iteration of this game. The first game, this is very similar in terms of gameplay. Now, in the second version of the game, there was cover you could hide behind, and
slaughtered all
essentially you just went in with a
Space Marine.
couple of teams and
Our brothers
and
live.
performed a mission. Now, most of it was similar to this in terms of mission style.
Shall see it
Basilica's
done.
structural integrity compromised.
If I remember correctly. I may be wrong about that. But it seems like they've more or less done away with cover here.
We receive you by your command. Let it
Dead
rain.
men walking. I will ensure it.
Rupture detected in
Command
south
us.
quadrant.
Repositioning. Praise unto the Emperor. We have the order.
Chapter
and
command.
shall see
I
it
no escape. Fight of the make way.
Name a foe and see it executing missile strike. A fine skill.
Thought of the day. Inquisitiveness is the first
Cries
step
of your
towards
command.
This day.
So that was a stupid move right there. I hit that missile strike and then I just knocked everyone out of the way with the other unit. Didn't work out too badly, but could have gone probably a lot smoother.
Will not falter. Repositioning.
We have our orders, brothers.
This my hammer has them.
Command us. Their might shall fail.
Rupture detected in east quadrant.
Not elite the orcs are
Our
collecting
enemies are
scrap
worth
from
setting up.
Starfort Helios.
They are building something, but what?
We embark with fire in our hearts.
Angelos. I will carry out this plan.
Docking pier damaged. Dispatching
The
servitor team.
foe in this place vexed fear is for
Does have nice level designs.
Teams unresponsive.
I like how they block out parts of the map. The fog of war isn't really annoying. It's not just like a black cloud hanging over everything. Kind of have an idea of what's around you.
I am capable. No escape!
Rupture detected in
I
north
will
quadrant.
kill that walker!
Name a foe and see it executing missile strike. Terminators, we will perform the cleansing.
Our enemies await. Begone! I fear no evil!
I do like the addition of the bigger units. The Dread Mechs, I believe is what they're called. I might be wrong about that. Imperial Knights are in this, which are really cool looking. And, of course, the Wraith Lords and Shadow Lord and all that kind of stuff are in here. I think it's Shadow Lord. Just another equally big hero unit. Unfortunately, though, so far they only seem to be hero units. You can't train them as normal units. It doesn't seem to be that way so far. Again, I haven't played all the way through this yet, so that may change later.
No escape. Chapter Master setting out.
I'd like to see them. I'd like to see Games Workshop make another one of these, like with Titans, and 40K is an interesting universe, and it's huge. Like, unreasonably huge. So, there's a lot of depth that can be added to these. I would also like to play somebody that's not the Blood Ravens or the Blood Angels.
You'll die for that, alien.
We are beset by trespassers. This world is ours.
That was something I really liked about Space Marine, was the fact that you were playing as the Ultramarines, which was is a totally different chapter. And there's Chaplain Diomedes. Feels weird for me to call him Diomedes. I would pronounce it Diomedes.
I came to issue your last rites. Now I see that you need none. So the Eldar used their webway to sidestep the blockade.
They're here in force. I was fighting through orcs when I ran into Eldar.
It's worse here than I feared. We must assess their numbers and report to the Inquisitor.
May our greatest glories yet lie ahead.
So right now, obviously I'm checking out what his ability is. It's pretty good, actually. Just a lot of increased fire rate and increased critical strike. And it seems like a small amount of healing is also added.
Docking pier damaged. Dispatching servitor teams.
On the move, seeking glory.
Servitor teams unresponsive.
Chaplain Diomed in a mad age? Look to the madman to show the way. We'll win the victory shall be ours.
He who fights with me shall be my brother.
Praise unto the
Rupture detected in North Quadrant.
and I shall
Yeah, now I've set them as groups, I believe, at that point. 1, 2, and 3. You can obviously access them as F1, F2, F3, but that's a little bit inconvenient to reach up another, it sounds silly, but another like half an inch on the keyboard.
I understand.
For some reason, it wouldn't let me pick up that health.
Structural integrity compromised.
Our weapons are much too clean. We embark with fire in our hearts.
Boy, my Falcon was
Under attack!
talking box. Can you hear me?
Our foes
Da, 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 da,
and we shall
da,
never
da, da,
move
da,
forward through fire. I chant the ancient rites. Speak louder than the cries of our foes.
remember thinking that was a cool animation on Diomedes there with the when he's got the liturgies activated.
Fear is for foes of the Emperor. We bring death to the enemies of man. Enemy grenade! Terminators! Listen, executing missile strike.
Our no respite. Make way! My fury waits.
Speed! These become the cries of our foes.
I'm big on! Let us do it!
What new orders? Proceeding downrange. Terminators, listen close. Show us power as the Emperor guides us. Termination. Understood.
Particularly spirited moment of combat, which I enjoyed.
Enemy slain. At your command. Moving. Speak, my lord.
Shall be done. Gabriel moving out.
I stand without fear. We are ready to excel.
Knight of the Blood Ravens. Make way!
Praise unto the Emperor.
Angelo's doing it now.
We do not a pilgrimage.
Might the
across this
Emperor
lonely
lights our
border.
way.
Chaplet spirit me
Angelo,
to triumph.
chapter
my
master
Emperor.
setting out.
May our greatest glories yet lie ahead. Terminators do not halt or fail or quit. Moving.
Interestingly, I just got done watching a video, Greywolfe, Lost Wolves, if you know him by Lost Wolf, part of our team. He has his own channel called Lost Wolf's Lair, and he's been playing a game called Stories. It seems to contain a lot of reference, humor, and like fan service. Part of that game is there's a legion called the Imperial Ravens, which are, typical bad guys in the game. And of course, when they attack, they go for the Emperor. That kind of made me laugh a little bit. There's a lot of that stuff in there. Anyway, yeah, Lost Wolf's Lair. Greywolfe plays a lot of like classic style adventure games and story games and that kind of stuff, and it's worth a watch. He doesn't have a lot of viewers, but it's worth a watch. He's a cool guy, and his gameplays are pretty good. So yeah, check him out if you're interested. That's one of those long save screens that I'm clearly not editing out now because my audio is going to be laid right over the top of it, and everything will be way out of sync if I don't do it.
Targeting infantry.
Terminators advancing to engage. And we to glory! To war! The sacraments of battle!
Our enemies, I will clear the way.
What new horde executing missile strike?
This is no escape. Attacking.
Getting fairly close to the end of the mission now. You can see on the map down there, which has expanded greatly since we started the mission.
Target destroyed. I will. Let us do it.
Speak louder than the cries of our foes. By your command, let it rain. Through fire to
This day holds glory. Dead men.
And that missile barrage is incredibly effective.
we have our orders, brothers.
Our enemies make way. The Eldar will be gone. Enemy grenade.
And we shall now sleep fire, proceeding downrange.
This targeting infantry. No escape.
8th Guard units are pretty tough. These guys, if you're not careful, could probably kill any one of these heroes. And that would fail this game because there's no respawning here in this mission.
This is repositioning. I agree. Dead men walk. Make way.
Speak louder than the cries of our foes.
Our
We receive you. Never doubt in us. We did forevermore. We have the order and shall show me that we achieve glory.
I am marching there now.
Excellence. We order received. Israel will deal with their dead. Command us. Executing missile strike. I am your warrior. Foe and see it slain. Repositioning.
So that attacking a destroyed structure, excuse me, in this denies the orcs scrap. That's that little gray bar there. They can still loot that. Perhaps rebuild units.
I've seen the stories of great heroes. Foe and see it slain. On your command. Let it rain.
The area just above there where the orcs are fighting the Eldar, that is a shielded area. If you try and attack that, you just won't penetrate. You'll attack. That's this game's version of the cover. Anyway, you'll attack that cover
Keep moving.
before you get in, but it won't stop melee from running in there. It's kind of actually it's a pretty neat little balance unit or balance mechanic. I think I would still rather see, you know, walls that you could hide behind and form a sort of strategy around.
On my way.
There's a fire prism up there. Those are real dangerous. Luckily, they're also very slow. Put those Terminators over there to chip away at that thing while I'm handling these dudes. With the heroes, I don't know if that's really the right move. Hardcore RTS players might be yelling at me a little bit.
I'll remind them of Blood Raven's fury. Make way!
What new advancing to engage?
Knobs are tough, man. That was that big orc. Just a normal unit, like a heavy unit. Really strong.
That's the last of the scum.
Maybe. I fear this isn't their only staging ground.
Alright, and that's the end of that mission. And then we move on to a sort of victory screen, obviously, and then the reward screen for your elites, where you can get skulls, right? And then you pay skulls to unlock doctrines, which are your sort of passive abilities that are added to certain troops. It's actually pretty neat. I like that aspect of it. And you also unlock like portrait skins or portraits and skins.
I forbade you to land on Acheron, yet you defied me.
Inquisitor, I could not let my brothers lie.
I will say this for this game. It's got miles better voice acting than the previous two.
Diomedes survived and was standing alone against an Eldar invasion force.
What?
It is not just orcs on Acheron, but the Eldar as well.
Their webway is more invasive than I imagined. They will get to the spear before us.
Is that your aim, Inquisitor? You want the spear for yourself? Is that why you blockaded Acheron?
Angelos, remain on Acheron and do not let the spear fall into the hands of our enemies.
Okay, there's the end of the briefing. And here's the experience screen. It's going to show you what levels up. Terminators go up a level. And they've unlocked a doctrine, I believe is what that meant. I didn't really get a chance to check because I don't have the opportunity. It just starts the next mission as the Eldar. Again, not really that intuitive. I'm not real pleased with that. But there we go. Next mission. Alright guys, thanks very much for watching. I've been Scrooloose with TwinstiqLP. Have a great one.